Reborn Uchiha Itachi Power, I Solo 5 Kage. Welcome funds. Enjoy exclusive audiobook experiences right here. For full access to complete stories, visit my website or support me on Patreon, links are in the description. Episode 21 Seo Nan's Test. A turning point. Inside the woods, everyone tensed up. Don't panic. The commander of the hidden cloud villages ANBU was a bald, burly man who carried 2 electrified broadswords and roared at the top of his lungs. He's all alone, and he has to protect that brat. We have 10 Jonin and 20 elite Chunin here. Even if we grind him down, we can grind him down to death. The Sand Village puppeteer beside him chimed in with a sinister tone. That's right, even the Hokage would be in trouble facing this lineup. Let's attack together. Forget about martial ethics. This is for our respective villages. The group encouraged each other, and the greed in their eyes gradually overcame their fear. After all, killing this kid would bring a reward of 50 million taels of silver and make him famous. Kill, quote. Dozens of people rushed forward like mad dogs. The ninjutsu emitted a dazzling array of colors, and the shuriken flew in dense clusters, sealing off all avenues for escape. Tobirama stood on the water and yawned. So noisy. I was going to play along with you guys, but my silly apprentice seems a bit scared. He glanced at Seo Nan behind him, who was clutching his clothes tightly and trembling all over. Alright, then. Clear the area. Tobirama flicked his wrist. More than a dozen specially made flying thunder god kunai were thrown into the surrounding crowd. Watch out for the kunai. The Cloud Village captain shouted. It's too late. Flying thunder god technique, second stage. Susanu's bone arm. Golden flashes and red chakra erupted simultaneously in an instant. Brush, quote. A flash of red light appeared. The 3 Cloud Village Chunin at the forefront were still in their hand seals. Suddenly, a line of blood appeared on their necks. The next second, their heads flew into the sky in perfect unison. Boom! On the other side, a huge red skeletal arm appeared out of thin air. It swatted at the heads of those Sand Village puppeteers like swatting mosquitoes. The puppeteer who was still shouting, along with his prized puppet, was smashed into a pile of parts and minced meat. This is the perfect combination of speed and power. Quick! That's too fast. These so-called elite ninjas couldn't even touch the hem of Tobirama's robe. All they saw was a golden lightning bolt flashing wildly across the battlefield. With each pause, blood spurts forth. With every swing of the knife, a head inevitably falls to the ground. Ah, what kind of speed is that? I can't see him. I can't see him at all. In just 3 seconds. Except for 1 Cloud Village Jonin who had already been targeted by Tobirama, everyone else was wiped out. The corpses lay scattered across the water, turning the clear stream into a murky, blood-red color. Tobirama stood before the sole surviving Jonin of Kumogakuo, flicking the blood off his sword. The Jonin slumped to the ground, his knife long since dropped in fright, and his crotch was soaked. No, don't kill me. I am from Kumogakuo. Shut up, quote. Tobirama interrupted him. He turned around and pulled Seo Nan, who was still in a daze, over. Seo Nan, look at him. Tobirama pointed at the Jonin who was terrified. This is your graduation exam to become a ninja. Pick up your kunai and kill him. Seo Nan suddenly looked up, her orange eyes filled with terror. I killed him? That's a Jonin. Rest assured. Quote. Tobirama smiled. It was the smile of a devil. He turned to look at the Jonin, his 3 Tomoe Sharingan flashing, and his killing intent pressed down on him as if it were a tangible force. Hey, listen up, Cloud Village Ninja. I'll give you a chance to live. Defeat my disciple using only taijutsu, without using ninjutsu, and I'll let you go. If we lose, or if anyone dares to harm her. Tobirama pointed to the pile of minced meat next to him. That's what will happen to you. A glint of survival flashed in the eyes of that Cloud Village Jonin. Without using ninjutsu, how could you possibly defeat a little girl who's only a few years old? This is practically God giving him a way out. Okay, I promise. I promise everything. He scrambled to his feet, picked up a handful of kunai, and his eyes instantly turned fierce. To save his own life, he'd kill even his own mother, let alone a little girl. Tobirama stepped back, crossed his arms, and vacated the battlefield. Seo Nan, listen carefully. From the moment you decided to become a ninja, your life no longer belonged to yourself. Either kill or be killed. If you don't want to die, grip your knife tightly. Seo Nan bit her lip until she tasted blood. She looked at the burly man opposite her, whose face was full of scars and who exuded a murderous aura, and felt a growing sense of fear. Afraid. I'm really scared. But she was even more afraid of losing her master, and even more afraid of returning to those days when she couldn't get enough to eat and was bullied. Ah, quote. Conan shouted to bolster her courage, grabbed her kunai, and charged forward. Completely haphazard. It's exactly like a street fight. You're asking for it. The Cloud Village Jonin grinned maliciously. Although he couldn't use ninjutsu, his taijutsu was still honed through countless trials. He sidestepped, avoiding Conan's thrust. He raised his leg and kicked Seonan in the stomach. Bang! Seonan was instantly sent flying backward, crashing heavily into a tree. Cough cough. She curled up in pain, a trickle of blood escaping from the corner of her mouth. The gap is too big. Even if the opponent didn't use chakra, she was still far superior to a novice like her who had only been refining chakra for a day. Is that all you've got? Tobirama watched coldly, showing no intention of making a move. Stand up. You want to be my disciple? You can't even endure this little bit of pain? Upon hearing this, a hint of stubbornness flashed in Seonan's eyes. She struggled to her feet and wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. We can't lose. Losing means death. Again. This time, she did not charge blindly. She remembered the three bodies technique her master had taught her yesterday. Just as the Cloud Village Jonin threw a punch. Bang! A puff of white smoke. The Jonin's fist struck a section of wooden stake. Substitution technique. Huh? The Jonin was taken aback. The next second, Seonan appeared behind him, holding an explosive tag in her hand. Go to hell. She slammed the explosive tag hard against the Jonin's back, then quickly jumped away. Boom! An explosion was heard. It's done. A hint of joy appeared on Seonan's face. But as the smoke cleared, her heart sank to the bottom. Although the Jonin's clothes were blown to shreds and his back was a bloody mess, he did not die. He used his chakra to protect his vitals. You brat! He roared in agony, completely losing his mind. He ignored Tobirama's warnings, ignoring anything about not killing her. Now all he wanted was to tear this brat who had hurt him to pieces. He instantly rushed in front of Conan, and thrust his kunai directly at her. Go to hell. Completion. Seonan closed her eyes in despair. Just then, brush, quote, a dark shadow flashed by. Click. The Jonin's arm was broken off, and he was kicked away like trash. Tobirama stood in front of Conan and caught his falling apprentice. Master, master. Seonan was panting heavily, her eyes brimming with tears. Don't cry. Tobirama patted her on the back, then walked over to the Jonin who was groaning on the ground. I gave you a chance, but you failed. Tobirama stomped on the Jonin's chest, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. Since you've lost, then keep your promise. Tobirama threw a kunai at Conan's feet. Seonan, come here. Kill him. Seonan's hands trembled slightly as she looked at the mangled, convulsing body on the ground. Kill? Are you really going to kill someone? The Jonin on the ground saw Conan's hesitation and immediately changed his expression. No, don't kill me. Young lady, I was forced into this too. I have a daughter who's the same age as you. If I die, she'll have no father. Please, let me go. He was crying. She cried uncontrollably, her sobs were heart-wrenching. Seonan was stunned. She recalled the pain she felt when she lost her parents. Will that little girl also become a homeless person like me? Her hand fell to her side, and her eyes wavered. Master, he. In that very instant, a glint of malice flashed in the eyes of the seemingly pleading Jonin. He suddenly shot out a poisoned needle from his hidden hand, aiming straight for Seonan's face. Go to hell, you idiot. Now's the time to regret it. Seonan didn't have time to react. But the poisoned needle stopped 1 centimeter away from Seonan's eyeball. It was held firmly between 2 slender fingers. Tobirama sighed. They're so young. He turned to look at the Jonin, and the 3 tomoe in his eyes instantly merged into one. Genjutsu Sharingan. The Jonin's body stiffened instantly, and his eyes became vacant. Tell her what you were thinking just now. Tobirama's voice was cold and ruthless. The Jonin spoke mechanically, like a puppet. This silly girl. She's so easy to fool. So what if that Uchiha is strong? As long as I kill her, that Uchiha brat will suffer for the rest of his life. Even if I die, I'll take someone down with me. Hearing these words, Seonan's face was ashen white. All the sympathy, all the hesitation, shattered like glass at that moment. Is this what ninjas are like? Is this the consequence of being merciful to the enemy? If it weren't for Master, that needle would not only have killed her, but would have also brought shame upon Master. Did you hear that? Tobirama threw the poisoned needle on the ground, his tone cold and hard. This is the battlefield. Your mercy is like handing a knife to the enemy. Seonan, do you want to go back to the past? Do you want me to regret it someday in the future, holding your dead body? No, quote. Seonan screamed. She suddenly raised her head, and the innocence in her eyes was gone, replaced by a blazing fire. A flame called enlightenment. She remembered the warm bed she had been in the night before, and the way her master had served her food. That was something she was willing to protect even at the cost of her life. Anyone who tries to destroy this warmth must die. I don't want to die. And I will never let my master down. Conan roared, grabbed the kunai from the ground, and charged forward. Without hesitation. There was no trembling. She straddled the jonin, her kunai raised high in her hand. Go to hell. Peeved. Hot, blood red splattered on her face. 1, 2, 3. Until the jonin stopped moving completely, until his face was so badly pierced that it was unrecognizable. Seo Nan finally stopped. She was panting heavily, covered in blood, and clutching the kunai tightly in her hand. Like a wolf cub that has just been through a fierce battle. Tobirama walked over, took out a handkerchief, and gently wiped the blood from her face. Her movements were so gentle, a stark contrast to her previous coldness. Well done. Quote, welcome to be a ninja, Conan. You've passed your graduation exam. Congratulations on becoming a ninja. Conan looked up at Tobirama. Tears mingled with blood as they flowed down, but his eyes held an unprecedented firmness. Master, from now on, all the trouble and all the dirty work will be mine. I will become the sharpest sword in your hand. Anyone who tries to ruin our lives, I will kill them. Tobirama smiled. He held Seo Nan in his arms. Okay. From now on, whether Master can slack off depends entirely on you. The sun is setting. The shadows of the two, one large and one small, stretched out very long. The corpses on the ground will decompose quickly. But that once innocent homeless girl is dead. Instead, it took its place. She is the future ninja who will make the entire ninja world tremble, the Angel Conan. Episode 22, Questioning the Conspiracy Duo. Threatening the Hokage. Let's do it. There was no unnecessary chatter, and none of the shouting from those bounty hunters earlier. These masked root ninjas were like a group of programmed killing machines. Wind release, vacuum sphere. Fire release, fire dragon flame bullet. Secret technique, the jade that parasitizes insects. It was a deadly move from the very first strike. The wind fanned the flames, instantly creating a raging inferno. At the same time, swarms of poisonous insects poured out from the ground, blocking all escape routes. This is the elite of the roots. They work in perfect harmony, without any emotion, and are even willing to risk their lives. One root ninja, covered in explosive tags like a human bomb, rushed towards Tobirama under the cover of ninjutsu. That's interesting. Tobirama shielded Conan behind him, a cold smile playing on his lips. A little better than those small fry from before, but only marginally. Susanoo, second stage. Boom. The red chakra surged instantly, and this time not only the skeleton, but also the meridians and muscles materialized. The terrifying flames, poisonous insects, and even the self-destructing root ninjas. It crashed into that red armor, but didn't even leave a mark. This is the red giant from the intelligence. Even the root captain, who was devoid of emotion, was stunned by this surge of chakra. The intelligence is incorrect. The defenses cannot be penetrated. Yosuga, take the intelligence and retreat. Tell Lord Danzo. Everyone else, self-destruct with me. Hold him off. The captain roared, and the remaining 7 or 8 root ninjas launched a suicidal attack without hesitation. Trying to run away? Tobirama watched as the root ninja turned and slithered into the forest like an eel. Under my watchful eye, no one has ever managed to leave alive with my intelligence. Tobirama's right eye suddenly widened. Focus your gaze. Amaterasu. Phew. The root ninja, Oto, who was running wildly in the distance, suddenly let out a shrill scream. Black flames suddenly ignited on his back. Water escape? Useless. Earth escape? Useless. He rolled frantically on the ground, but the black flames were like a curse from hell, burning him to ashes before slowly extinguishing. As for those here who want to self-destruct? Flying thunder god Rasengan. Tobirama's figure transformed into a red lightning bolt. Swish swish swish. Susanoo's giant hand grabbed the two people's heads and crushed them instantly. The flying thunder god Kyun-do can't travel through time. Before the remaining people could detonate the talismans, their hands and feet were severed, and then their throats were slit with a single blow. 1 minute. The battle is over. The ground was littered with severed limbs and corpses lying haphazardly. Tobirama, expressionless, took out a huge sealing scroll. With practiced skill, they sealed all the corpses, who wore root masks and had curse marks carved on their tongues, inside. This is the evidence. This will also be used later to increase our bargaining power. Master. Seo Nan peeked out from behind, her face somewhat pale. Are they also Konoha ninja? Why are they trying to kill us? She didn't understand. If they were ninjas from an enemy country, that would be one thing, but why would people from the same village fight each other? Because that's politics. Tobirama put away the scroll, ruffled Conan's hair, and gave her a cold look. Seo Nan, you must remember this. The enemy isn't just outside. Sometimes, the person who stabs you in the back is often the one you're desperately trying to protect. This gift was given by some rat hiding in the gutter. Let's go back to the village. Tobirama looked towards Konoha, his expression filled with murderous intent. Master will take you to. Flip the table. Konoha village, main gate. Today is a big day. Hearing that Tobirama Uchiha, the hero who destroyed the Land of Rain, was returning, the entire village spontaneously flocked to the main gate. People were holding banners and carrying flowers. It was a sea of people. They're here, they're here. Lord Tobirama is back. When Tobirama appeared at the end of the road with Conan, cheers erupted instantly. Lord Tobirama, you're so cool. Thank you for protecting Konoha. Countless girls screamed, and countless children idolized. Tobirama's expression changed instantly. The chilling murderous aura vanished, replaced by a gentle, warm smile. As he waved, he pulled out stacks of silver notes from his ninja tool pouch. That's right, it's money. The secret stash of Hanzo's money that he had plundered from Amigakure is now coming in handy. Thank you all for your hard work. These are all spoils of war. We should all share in Konoha's glory. Splash! A rain of banknotes. This move completely stunned the villagers, followed by even more frenzied cheers. These days, who doesn't like a hero who's strong, generous, and handsome? Tobirama stood in the center of the crowd and shouted, I am Tobirama Uchiha. He's also a member of Konoha. As long as I'm here, the flames of war will never reach Konoha. I will protect each and every one of you as I would my own family. This wave of speeches, coupled with a financial offensive, propelled his reputation to its peak. Many villagers were even moved to tears, feeling that their previous prejudice against the Uchiha clan was truly unacceptable. Look at their vision. This is true will of fire. The Hokage building, top floor. Hiruzen Sarutobi stood by the window, looking at the frenzied scene below, his face even more ashen than if he had swallowed a fly. Beside him, Danzo looked as gloomy as a dead man. Hiruzen, did you see that? He's winning people's hearts. This isn't a ninja, this is clearly a politician. If he keeps doing this, the next Hokage will be from the Uchiha clan. Danzo gritted his teeth, his single eye flashing with a venomous light. The assassination attempt en route failed. Useless. However, although this kid is strong, he's still young and impetuous. Hiruzen, the next mission. Danzo lowered his voice, his tone chilling. Send him to the border of the Land of Thunder. I've already contacted the radical faction in Kumogakure, and also Onoki from Iwagakure. At that time, I will personally lead the team, disguised as ninjas from an enemy country. This time, we will use all our strength to completely eliminate this scourge. Hiruzen Sarutobi's hand holding the pipe trembled slightly. That was a surefire strategy. Not only do they use others to do their dirty work, but they also do it themselves. Danzo, isn't this a bit too much? Too what? Danzo sneered. Think about Madara Uchiha. Konoha cannot have a second uncontrolled Uchiha. Hiruzen Sarutobi remained silent. He looked out the window at the spirited young man, then at his own aging hands. At last, he turned around, his back to Danzo, and took a deep drag on his cigarette. He didn't say anything. This is the default. Danzo's lips curled into a smug, sinister smile. Master, where are we going? Seeing that Tobirama showed no intention of going home, but instead stormed towards the reddest building, Minami noticed. Go collect the debt. Tobirama's smile vanished. Instead, there was a suppressed rage. We arrived at the foot of the Hokage building. The guards from the Secret Service were about to stop them. Roll, quote. With a single glance, Tobirama activated Tsukuyomi, the immense power of his eye causing the two Anbu members to immediately collapse to their knees, immersed in the illusion of the Mangekyo Sharingan. He led Conan through the streets without hindrance, directly to the Hokage's office. Inside, Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo were plotting. Thump. There was no knocking. No notification was issued. Tobirama raised his foot, and with a kick imbued with superhuman strength, slammed it directly into the heavy oak door. Boom! The gate shattered instantly, sending splinters flying everywhere. Half of the door panel even grazed Danzo's ear before slamming into the wall, leaving a large dent. The office was deathly silent. Hiruzen Sarutobi was startled. Danzo suddenly stood up, his one eye fixed on the doorway. Amidst the smoke and dust, Tobirama stepped into the room, his footsteps piercing the wood chips scattered on the floor. Behind her followed Seo Nan, who looked nervous but tried hard to appear calm. Smack! Tobirama casually slammed the scroll containing the root members' corpses onto Hiruzen Sarutobi's desk. The scroll rolled off. It instantly released the masked corpses with cursed marks on their tongues. Hiruzen Sarutobi. Tobirama didn't use any honorifics, he addressed him by his given name. Those Mangekyo Sharingan eyes spun wildly, and the red ribs of Susanoo faintly appeared, instantly lowering the temperature in the entire office to freezing point. He pointed to the scroll on the table, then to Danzo beside him. Is this your explanation to me? I'm risking my life for you on the front lines, and you send people to stab me in the back? Route interception? Or a suicide attack? What, don't you think enough people from Konoha have died? Or perhaps... Tobirama stepped forward, his terrifying killing intent locking onto Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo. You two old geezers are tired of living. Do you want Konoha to erupt into civil war right now? Episode 23 Threat of Force. A dilemma for 3 generations. The executioner Danzo. Although the door to the Hokage's office was broken, the smell of gunpowder inside was even stronger than outside. Uchiha Tobirama. Danzo was trembling with rage, and his single eye turned an intense red, as if he were about to activate his Sharingan. It's clear that Tobirama's actions have thoroughly enraged Danzo. He's a disciple of the Second Hokage, a member of Konoha's root, someone even Hiruzen Sarutobi treats with deference. When has he ever been kicked down the door and verbally abused by a 12-year-old brat? Outrageous. Utterly outrageous. Danzo suddenly stood up, leaning on his cane, and roared at Tobirama. This is rebellion. This is treason. Root members, heed my command. This man has no respect for his elders and intends to harm Konoha. Kill him. Execute him on the spot. However, the silence was awkward. None of the elite members of the root force, who are usually available at a moment's notice, have appeared. Stop shouting. Tobirama picked at his ear, looking disgusted. All your shady lackeys are lying in that scroll. Danzo, are you getting senile? Since those useless cowards couldn't kill me, do you really think you, a half-buried old dog, could kill me? You're asking for it. Hit where it hurts. Danzo completely broke down. He suddenly began forming hand seals. Wind release, vacuum wave barrage. Want to make a move? A cruel smile curled at the corner of Tobirama's lips. He did not retreat an inch. Those crimson Mangekyu Sharingan suddenly met Danzo's single eye. Since you want to die, then I'll grant your wish. Let me show you what real hell is like. Tsukuyomi. Boom. The whole world has changed. The office is gone, the sunlight is gone. Instead, there was a blood-red sky and a black sun. Before Danzo could react, he found himself bound to a giant cross. Unable to move. He couldn't even mobilize his chakra. Where am I? An illusion? Danzo shouted in terror. Welcome to my world. Tobirama's voice came from all directions. Countless Tobirama figures, each wielding a long sword, emerged from the blood-red mist, densely packed, numbering in the thousands. In this world, space, time, mass, everything is under my control. Danzo, when you sent people to assassinate me, did you ever imagine this day would come? Don't you like to use torture to brainwash people? Today, I'll let you taste this flavor too. The first Tobirama stepped forward and, expressionless, plunged his long sword into Danzo's thigh. Peefed. Ah! Danzo let out a piercing scream. Ouch! The pain felt incredibly real, amplified several times over, and directly affected the depths of the soul. This is just the beginning. For the next 72 hours, I will use a knife, slice by slice, to cut your flesh off. Enjoy it slowly. Peefed, peefed, peefed. Countless Tobiramas simultaneously wielded their swords. In this blood-red space, only Danzo's heart-wrenching wails remained. The real world. Only 1 second had passed. Danzo, who had been aggressively preparing to form hand seals, suddenly rolled his eyes back and convulsed violently as if he had been electrocuted. He then fell heavily to the ground, clutching his head and rolling around frantically, foaming at the mouth. The screams were so shrill and agonizing that they seemed inhuman. The sight frightened Konan, who was standing nearby, so much that she turned pale and clutched Tobirama's clothes tightly. Hiruzen Sarutobi was also startled. Danzo. He looked at his old friend who had collapsed on the ground, then at Tobirama across from him who remained indifferent, and a storm raged in his heart. What kind of illusion is this? A single glance was enough to break a cage-level powerhouse? Tobirama, what have you done? Hiruzen Sarutobi was shocked and immediately rushed to Danzo's side, pressing his hands down on Danzo's head. Untie. Quote. He mobilized all his chakra, attempting to break through the illusion. However, it remained completely still. That chilling gaze was like an impregnable fortress. No matter how he attacked, it couldn't budge an inch. How is that possible? Even I, an old man, cannot solve it. Hiruzen Sarutobi's face turned deathly pale instantly. He's known as the man of ninjutsu. He's mastered all of Konoha's secret techniques. How could they not be able to break the illusion of a 12-year-old boy? This means, if that glance was directed at him, he has to lie down too. Don't waste your energy, Hokage-sama. Tobirama pulled up a chair, sat down with an air of superiority, and coldly observed the scene. This is a Mangekyu Sharingan eye technique. No one but me can solve this. You, quote. Hiruzen Sarutobi suddenly looked up, glaring at Tobirama, his killing intent no longer concealed. Tobirama, you've gone too far. Danzo is an advisor to Konoha. He's your elder. How dare you use this kind of genjutsu on him? Do you know what this means? Are you trying to betray the village? Faced with the Hokage's roar and labeling, Tobirama merely smiled dismissively, his fingers lightly tapping the armrest. Too much? When you sent men to intercept and kill me, why didn't you say it was excessive? When you wanted to turn me into a puppet, why didn't you say it was too much? You're still trying to morally blackmail me even now. Tobirama leaned forward, his scarlet eyes fixed on Hiruzen Sarutobi. Old man, don't try to intimidate me with that wall of fire technique. I'm warning you. This is just an appetizer. If you dare to move again, or try to hit me, I wouldn't mind if you went in and chatted with him too. Threaten. This is a blatant threat. In front of the Hokage, he threatened to use genjutsu on him. Hiruzen Sarutobi was trembling with rage, but he dared not move. I really don't dare to move. Danzo was still howling on the ground like a dead dog, his miserable state making the third Hokage feel a fear of powerlessness for the first time. He could only grit his teeth, staring intently at Tobirama, wishing he could tear him to pieces, but he could only obediently wait. 3 minutes later. But in the world of Tsukuyomi, it was a long 3 days and 3 nights. Huff, huff. Danzo finally stopped convulsing, his whole body drenched in cold sweat as if he had just been pulled out of the water. His eyes were unfocused, filled with fear, and he was muttering unconsciously. Uchiha, Uchiha evil brat. Mental breakdown. This wave of attacks has utterly crushed Danzo's pride and dignity into the mud. Woke up? Quote. Tobirama kicked Danzo's foot. Get up if you're not dead. We need to settle the score. Danzo shuddered instinctively upon hearing the voice, but then a deep-seated hatred brought him back to his senses. Hiruzen, kill him. Danzo lay on the ground, his voice hoarse like that of a vengeful ghost. No matter the cost, we must kill him. He is a menace, a major threat. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a deep breath, stood up, and stood in front of Danzo. Tobirama, have you had enough? Danzo has been punished. This matter ends here. Is this the end? Tobirama sneered and drew the long sword from his waist. A flash of cold light, aimed straight at Danzo's throat. He was about to kill me. A life for a life, a debt for a debt. He must die today. No. Quote. Hiruzen Sarutobi roared, unleashing a burst of chakra to fiercely protect Danzo. Tobirama, you can't kill him. Danzo controls Konoha's entire intelligence network. Killing him will paralyze Konoha's intelligence system. And Hiruzen Sarutobi took a deep breath and began his psychological attack. You want to be Hokage, right? You've just returned with a great achievement. If you were to openly murder a high-ranking village official in the Hokage's office, your reputation is ruined. What will the villagers think of you then? What will the clan leaders think of you? How will you maintain your authority? It's not worth ruining your future for Danzo. That old fox, he still has some brains when it matters. After hearing this, Tobirama paused slightly in his sword strike. He pretended to be deep in thought, his brows slightly furrowed. Actually, I was already overjoyed inside. Kill Danzo? Killing him now would indeed be troublesome. Not only would it cause chaos in Konoha, but it would also make him a target of public criticism. Treat this old dog like an ATM, slowly squeeze out all his value, and torture him. That's what maximizing profits means. What you said makes some sense. Tobirama sheathed his sword, seemingly persuaded. Hiruzen Sarutobi breathed a sigh of relief and was about to speak. But, quote, Tobirama abruptly changed the subject, stepping on Danzo's chest and causing him to groan. The death penalty may be waived, but punishment is inescapable. I suffered immense psychological trauma, and my apprentice was terrified. Someone has to pay for this, right? Hiruzen Sarutobi's face darkened. He knew this kid was about to ask for an exorbitant amount again. What do you want? Tobirama held up 3 fingers, grinning like a cunning businessman. First, quote, the root, dissolve. All root members, rosters, and bases are being handed over to the dark side. I will take over. From this day forward, Konoha has no need for such underhanded organizations. My Uchiha police force is enough. Upon hearing this, Danzo, who was on the ground, was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. You're dreaming. That's his lifeline. You have a problem with that? Tobirama's eyes turned cold, and Tsukuyomi's eye power surged once more. Danzo immediately shut his mouth, trembling with fear. Second, quote, I want half of all the Shimura clan's businesses in Konoha. Furthermore, compensate me for emotional distress, half of the Shimura family's current liquid assets. Hiruzen Sarutobi's face was twitching. The Shimura family has half of their current liquid assets, why don't you just rob them? And there are the shops owned by the Shimura family, that's Danzo's family foundation. Third, quote, Tobirama pointed out the window. Tomorrow morning, make that old B********* D stand in front of the Hokage building, in front of the entire village. Apologize to the Uchiha clan. And write a 3,000-word self-criticism and read it aloud. I've already thought of the details. I, Danzo, am a shameless old schemer. If you don't agree. Tobirama gripped the hilt of his sword tightly, his killing intent erupting once more. Then let's start fighting now. Let's see if you two old geezers die first, or if I kill you both first. Episode 24 Danzo the Human Pig. The weak third Hokage. The capable Uchiha. The atmosphere in the Hokage's office was extremely tense. No, absolutely not. Hiruzen Sarutobi suddenly stepped forward, blocking Danzo's path as he lay there like a dead dog. Tobirama, compensation is possible, money is possible, we can even discuss the shop. But disband Root? Issue a public apology? That's absolutely impossible. The old man grew anxious. Although the roots are rotten, they are Konoha's dirty gloves, containing many shady intelligence networks. If they were disbanded, Konoha's intelligence system would immediately be paralyzed. More importantly, issue a public apology. Danzo was the Hokage's assistant, representing the face of Konoha's higher-ups. To make him admit in front of the entire village that he framed the Uchiha clan? Wouldn't it be admitting that the Konoha leadership had been engaging in political persecution? What are the villagers supposed to think? What will the other families think? If morale collapses, how can the team be led? Tobirama, are you going to destroy Konoha? Hiruzen Sarutobi stared intently at Tobirama, his tone almost pleading yet laced with threat. This is wartime. Once the leadership loses its authority, Konoha will be thrown into chaos. You don't want to see the village fall apart, do you? This is the true face of politicians. Using lofty principles to intimidate others, using the greater good as a shield. Tobirama laughed. He sat in the chair, legs crossed, watching Hiruzen Sarutobi as if he were watching a monkey show. Old man, aren't you mistaken about something? I'm not discussing this with you. I'm informing you. Tobirama stretched, his tone languid yet chilling. Not dismantling the root system? Fine. Then keep the core structure, but transfer the organization, personnel, and command authority entirely to me. As for the name, you can keep it as a memento. And an apology. Tobirama's eyes sharpened, and his voice rose 8 octaves. An apology is required. Over the years, how many false accusations has the Uchiha clan taken the blame for? All that cold stares and ostracism from the villagers, wasn't it all fueled by this old dog behind the scenes? Today, we must clear the Uchiha's name. We must tell everyone that all that slander was spread by Danzo. Otherwise, Tobirama gripped the hilt of the sword and flicked his thumb. Click. The blade is drawn an inch from its sheath. I'll kill him, then hang his body on the Hokage building, put up big posters about it, and give him some dignity myself. You dare. Danzo, who was on the ground, finally caught his breath. Hearing that his root was to be taken away and his reputation to be ruined, he was about to explode. Uchiha Tobirama, you treacherous beast with such wolfish ambitions. Danzo struggled to get up, his one eye filled with a venomous malice that looked like it wanted to devour him. The roots belong to me. They exist for the sake of Konoha. Give it to you? You think you're worthy? You want me to apologize? Dream on. Even if I die, I will never bow down to the evil Uchiha. Danzo was truly desperate. For an ambitious man like him, power and fame are more important than life itself. If the roots are gone and the reputation is ruined, what difference is there between him being alive and dead? Hiruzen, don't listen to him. Kill him. Use the entire village's strength. Today, either he dies, or Konoha perishes. Danzo was still roaring madly, like a rabid dog. Tobirama sighed and shook his head. It's so noisy. He slowly stood up. His aura exploded instantly, and the crimson ribs of Susanoo materialized, shattering all the surrounding tables and chairs. You're asking for it, aren't you? Tobirama walked towards the two of them step by step. With each step, a piece of the floor crumbled. That palpable killing intent made Hiruzen Sarutobi feel as if he were being choked, making it hard for him to breathe. Hiruzen Sarutobi, I'll give you 3 last seconds. Either agree to my conditions, or I'll send you 2 old geezers on your way right now. Then I'll declare myself Hokage, and let's see who dares to object. Overbearing, unreasonable and domineering. With a knife in hand, one remains calm. With Tobirama's current strength, capable of easily defeating Konoha, what is he afraid of? As Hiruzen Sarutobi looked into those cold, Mangekyo Sharingan eyes, his last line of defense crumbled. He can't afford to gamble. He couldn't beat him either. If a real war breaks out, Konoha will inevitably suffer heavy losses. If an external enemy invades, Konoha will be truly finished. Good. Quote. Hiruzen Sarutobi closed his eyes, as if all his energy had been drained in an instant. The personnel and organizational structure at the core are yours. The Shimura family's shop. Here you go. The money is for you too. Upon hearing this, Danzo turned around abruptly, looking at his old friend in disbelief. Hiruzen, you. Shut up. Hiruzen Sarutobi roared. Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Then, he looked at Tobirama, his voice dry. But a public apology is not an option. Danzo was, after all, an advisor. His reputation was Konoha's reputation. Everything else is acceptable, but Danzo cannot be pushed forward. This is the bottom line. Tobirama, if you push me any further, I'll risk my old life to take you down with me. Hiruzen Sarutobi showed some backbone this time. Although not many. After listening, Tobirama stroked his chin, seemingly weighing the pros and cons. He knew perfectly well what was going on. There's no benefit in forcing Danzo to his death. It's more interesting to keep that old dog around and torture him slowly, making him both an ATM and a scapegoat. Moreover, they've secured the core business, the money, and all the benefits. As for the apology, okay, Tobirama shrugged, withdrawing his murderous aura. Since the Hokage has said so, I'm not an unreasonable person. Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo both breathed a sigh of relief. Danzo, in particular, while heartbroken for the Rude clan, at least preserved his reputation and his life. As long as he survived, there was always hope. However, he hadn't quite let out a sigh of relief yet. A cruel smile suddenly appeared on Tobirama's lips. But, the death penalty has been waived, and the apology is unnecessary. But that old dog really enjoyed cursing me just now. You still want to kill me? I'm petty, I usually settle scores on the spot. Since you're not going to apologize. Tobirama suddenly raised his hand. Without any warning, Susanu's 10-fist sword. Boom! A massive red skeletal arm appeared out of thin air, holding a longsword burning with spiritual fire. Lightning fast. Hiruzen Sarutobi had no time to react. Danzo only saw a flash of red light before his eyes. Peefed. Snap. A piercing scream echoed once again throughout the Hokage building. Blood gushed out. Danzo's right arm and 2 legs were severed with a snap. Moreover, no severed limbs flew off. Because at the instant the limbs were severed, the Totsuka sword's sealing ability activated, directly absorbing the 3 limbs into the gourd and sealing them into the dream world. This means, unless Tobirama breaks the seal, Danzo will never be able to put his leg back on. Even if you find the best medical ninja, all you can do is get a prosthetic limb and become disabled. My hands, my legs. Danzo lay paralyzed in a pool of blood, staring at his bare torso, and went completely insane. Tobirama Uchiha, I'm going to kill you. Shut up. Quote. Tobirama dispelled Susanoo, then stepped on Danzo's face, stomping the remaining half of his body into the ground. He looked down at them, his eyes indifferent. This is the price. Danzo, I've remembered. I'll spare your dog's life. From today onwards, you'll obediently live the life of a cripple. If you dare reach out again, I'll chop off your head. After saying that, Tobirama turned around. He didn't even glance at Hiruzen Sarutobi, who was already terrified to the side. He pulled up Seo Nan, who was standing in the corner with an admiring look on her face. Come on, my good disciple. We've got the money, and we've got the power too. Let's go home and have a big meal. 2 figures, one tall and one short, swaggered out of the dilapidated Hokage's office. All that was left was a mess. Episode 25, Subduing the Grand Elder. Forced power seizure within the clan. Inside the Hokage's office. Ah, my legs, my hands. Danzo kept wriggling on the ground. Having lost all 4 limbs, he can't even stand up now. He can only grip the floor tightly with his remaining left hand, his face contorted in a grimace. Uchiha Tobirama, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to tear him to pieces. Skin him alive. Danzo's voice was shrill and ghostly, devoid of any of the profound darkness of the ninja world. Now, he was nothing more than a mad dog with its teeth pulled and its legs broken. Hiruzen Sarutobi stood to the side, his face also extremely grim. Seeing his old friend in such a miserable state, he felt a mixture of anger and fear. It was fear of the Uchiha's power, but even more so, it was anger at losing control. Enough, Danzo. Hiruzen Sarutobi gritted his teeth and told the medical team to come in and stop the bleeding immediately. What's the point of shouting now? Your roots are gone, your body is ruined. This is all because of your recklessness. Although he verbally blamed him, the killing intent in Hiruzen Sarutobi's eyes was even stronger than that in Danzo's. But, don't worry. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a deep breath, looking out the window towards the Uchiha clan's territory, a malice flashing in his eyes. He won't live much longer. I was originally planning to wait, but he dared to humiliate the Hokage and the Konoha leadership like this today. Then he must die. Only the dead pose no threat to Konoha. Upon hearing this, Danzo stopped wailing, his single eye fixed intently on Hiruzen. Kamakuya, Iwagakuya, the plan is ahead of schedule. Let him go to his death. Let him die on the battlefield. I want to see his body devoured by wild dogs. 2 old friends who once fought side by side have now reached the most vicious consensus in this blood-soaked office. They were willing to pay any price, even at the cost of betraying the village's interests. We must kill that Uchiha boy too. The streets of Konoha are bathed in the setting sun. Compared to the eerie atmosphere of the Hokage building, the outside world is full of life and warmth. Yo, Lord Tobirama is back? Lord Tobirama, these red bean cakes are fresh out of the oven. Take him to your young apprentice and let him try them. Lord Tobirama is truly a handsome man. Come over to my house for dinner sometime. The villagers were incredibly hospitable throughout the journey. After all, with that wave of financial power and the prestige of destroying a country, Tobirama is now seen as a living saint by the common people. Tobirama responded to each person with a gentle smile, and even called out the names of a few neighbors. His approachable demeanor left Seo Nan, who was standing behind him, speechless. Is this really the same ruthless master who could cut down dozens of people with a single strike? Master, everyone likes you very much. Seo Nan hugged a bag of red bean cakes that the auntie insisted on giving her, her orange eyes sparkling. This is the life she longs for. There was no war, no hunger, and everyone greeted each other with smiles. Like? Quote. Tobirama patted her head, his eyes deep. Seo Nan, you must remember this. They don't like me, they like strong people who can protect them and benefit them. If I ever lose, these people will turn on me faster than turning the pages of a book. However, Tobirama smiled, as long as we keep winning, this won't be a problem. Back at my lodgings, Tobirama skillfully heated up some food for Conan and then checked her injuries. Write down a summary of today's practice after you finish eating. I'm going out for a bit. Don't open the door unless you hear my voice. Yes, I understand, Master. Conan nodded obediently, watching Tobirama's departing figure, feeling a warm glow in her heart. This is home. We must protect this home. Deep within the Uchiha clan's territory, the Grand Elder's residence was located in the quietest corner, with 2 elite guards at the entrance, both at the level of 2-star power. Stop right there. Upon seeing Tobirama approach, the guard immediately reached out to stop him, his face full of arrogance. Tobirama, this is the Grand Elder's residence. No one may enter without being summoned. And although you have rendered meritorious service, you are still just a junior member of the branch family. Don't you know the rules? The reason this happens is that they only know that the protagonist has rendered meritorious service but do not know the protagonist's strength. Only a few people in the Konoha leadership know the specific information, and the details are being kept secret. He hadn't finished speaking. Tobirama didn't stop walking, nor did he even raise his hand. Illusion, Tsukuyomi. A glint flashed in his scarlet eyes. Thump, thump. The 2 elite Chunin didn't even let out a scream before their eyes rolled back and they collapsed to the ground, sleeping like logs. Rules? Tobirama stepped over the 2 of them and kicked open the vermilion door. My word is the rule. Inside the mansion, the Uchiha elder was kneeling on the tatami mat, sipping tea, when he heard the noise at the door and frowned. He was the leader of the radical faction in the family, and he was very particular about maintaining a proper hierarchy. Insolence. The elder put down his teacup, looked at the doorman who swaggered in, and sternly rebuked him. Tobirama, who let you in? Although you have some fame now, within the family, you're still just a junior. You don't kneel to pay respects to your elders, and you even dare to injure a guard? Are you trying to rebel? Facing the elder's spittle, Tobirama casually pulled up a chair, sat down with an air of nonchalance, and gave a playful look. Elder, please don't get so angry. Prone to stroke. You. The elder was so angry his beard trembled. Guards, seize this arrogant fool. Alright, stop shouting. Tobirama yawned, and his aura suddenly changed. Just moments ago he seemed like a friendly boy next door, but now he appeared to have transformed into a ferocious beast ready to devour anyone in its path. Those dark eyes instantly transformed into a kaleidoscope pattern. An oppressive aura emanating from the depths of one's bloodline instantly enveloped the entire room. The elder's pupils contracted sharply, and he swallowed back the curse that was about to come out of his mouth. He stared intently into Tobirama's eyes, his body trembling uncontrollably. This is kaleidoscope, Sharingan? As an elder of the Uchiha clan, he knew all too well what those eyes meant. That's Madara Uchiha's power. It's the legendary power of a god. Times have changed, you old thing. Tobirama pointed to his eyes, a wild, arrogant smile playing on his lips. I used to be timid and hesitant because I was still developing. I'm striking hard now because I'm invincible. Now, I'm the one in charge in this family. The elder swallowed hard, his face pale, but a flame of fanaticism ignited deep within his eyes. Might makes right. This is a creed etched into the very bones of the Uchiha clan. What do you want to do? The elder's voice trembled, no longer a rebuke, but one of awe. What are you doing? Tobirama took a scroll from his robes and threw it in front of the Grand Elder. Take a look. I just snatched this from that old monkey, Hiruzen Sarutobi. The root force is disbanded, all personnel are under my control. Half of the shops owned by the Shimura family belong to the family. The garrison's law enforcement powers have been expanded, granting him the privilege of acting first and reporting later. And, that old dog Danzo, I've already turned him into a human stump. Every word was like a heavy hammer blow to the elder's heart. Especially the last sentence. The elder suddenly raised his head, his face filled with disbelief. You destroyed Danzo? And they even got so much profit? Oh my god. These old guys have been fighting with the Hokage's higher-ups for decades, enduring countless humiliations. Forget about any benefits, they're lucky if they can even keep their own little territory. The 12-year-old boy went out, flipped the table, and brought the food back. This is what the Uchiha clan should be like. This is the kind of domineering power they've always dreamed of. Tobirama. No, Lord Tobirama. The elder stood up shakily, and the look in his eyes as he looked at Tobirama had completely changed. That was the look in their eyes when they saw a savior. That was the fervor of seeing hope for the family's revival. Good, good, good. The elder uttered the word, good, 3 times, tears streaming down his face. The Uchiha have finally unleashed their dragon form. That Toyama, he's so indecisive, I've disliked him for a long time. Only you, with these eyes, are worthy to lead the Uchiha clan to its peak. Their attitude made a complete 180-degree turn. The junior who was just about to be subdued is now directly referred to as Master. That's reality, after all, those who understand the times are the wise ones. However, the elder wiped away his tears, hesitating slightly. The clan leader is, after all, Fusion. He still holds some prestige within the clan, and now he's on the front lines. You don't need to worry about that. Tobirama waved his hand dismissively. I'll make Toyama admit defeat. What you need to do now is to gather all the Uchiha clan members currently remaining in Konoha to the Naka Shrine. I need to hold a meeting for them. Upon hearing this, the Grand Elder straightened his back instantly, as if he had become 20 years younger. He bowed deeply to Tobirama, his tone extremely respectful. Yes, Lord Tobirama. I'll take care of it right away. Anyone who dares not to come, I'll personally break their legs. Watching the first elder rush out in a flurry, Tobirama's lips curled into a slight smile. Done. The most stubborn old folks in the family are actually the easiest to fool. As long as you are strong and ruthless enough, you can bring him a continuous stream of benefits and glory. They are your most loyal dogs. At the entrance, the 2 guards who had been knocked down by the illusion slowly regained consciousness. The moment he opened his eyes, he saw his usually dignified elder seeing Tobirama off with a fawning expression. Lord Tobirama, please take care. Call me anytime if you need anything. The 2 guards were dumbfounded. They exchanged a glance and both saw the terror in each other's eyes. Things have changed. They quickly scrambled to their feet, burying their heads low, wishing they could disappear into the ground. Doorway master. Tobirama glanced at them, said nothing, and simply gave a faint hum. That one sound nearly made them wet themselves again. Watching Tobirama's departing figure, the elder stood at the door, back straight, and roared at the 2 guards. What are you all standing there for? Didn't you see that's the future head of the Uchiha clan? Pass down the order. The entire clan assemble. Episode 26 Subduing the Clan. The rebirth of the Uchiha. Nanga Shrine, a secret underground room. This is the spiritual totem of the Uchiha clan, where stone tablets and ancestral tablets enshrined. The dim candlelight flickered, illuminating hundreds of faces with varying expressions. What's going on? Why did the Grand Elder suddenly summon the entire clan? I don't know, I heard there's something big to announce. Is Tobirama Uchiha here too? Didn't he just come back from the front lines? Why is he sitting so arrogantly next to the head of the table? The tribespeople whispered amongst themselves, a restless atmosphere filling the air. This place is where all the Uchiha elites currently remaining in Konoha are gathered, including Jonin and Chunin, totaling more than 200 people. Quiet, quote. A sharp shout, aged yet full of vigor. The elder, leaning on his cane, walked to the front of the stage. He glanced around, his cloudy eyes now filled with fanatical light. I've gathered everyone here today for only one thing. The first elder took a deep breath, pointed to Tobirama who was sitting beside him with his eyes closed in meditation, and raised his voice 8 octaves. After careful consideration by the Council of Elders, from this day forward, Tobirama Uchiha will have full authority over all affairs of the Uchiha clan. The position of clan chief will also be assumed by the heir. As for Toyama at the front, I will send him a letter informing him of his resignation. The words had barely left his mouth. The entire audience was stunned. It was like a depth charge dropped into a fish pond. The entire underground chamber was thrown into chaos. What? Are you kidding me? Elder, are you getting senile? He's only 12. He may have some military achievements, but making him clan leader? What will happen to Lord Toyama? Questions and angry shouts rose and fell. The Uchiha clan is inherently arrogant, and they are unwilling to submit to anyone else. In particular, several of Toyama's most loyal confidants jumped out directly. A Jonin with a face full of scars pointed at Tobirama's nose and cursed. Tobirama Uchiha, you brat, what kind of sorcery did you use to bewitch the Grand Elder? You want to be the clan leader? You're not worthy. Do you have the qualifications? Do you have the power to suppress the entire clan? Even if you've done something meritorious, you can't be this arrogant. You think you can ride roughshod over us? Only if I'm dead. The crowd was outraged. The elder was about to reprimand him when he was stopped by a hand. Tobirama slowly opened his eyes. He didn't get up, but just leaned back lazily in his chair, a disdainful smile playing on his lips. Qualifications? Strength? Arrogant? Tobirama stood up, his black robe fluttering even without wind. Since you're so eager to see the qualifications, then open your dog eyes wide and see clearly. Tobirama suddenly looked up. His originally jet black pupils instantly turned into crimson 3 Tomoe pearls. Immediately afterwards, the 3 Magatama spun wildly, instantly merging into one, transforming into that eerie pattern that sent chills down one's spine. Kaleidoscope Sharingan. The Jonin who had been shouting just moments before met Tobirama's gaze. Tsukuyomi. Well, the Jonin didn't even manage to scream. His eyes rolled back instantly, his body convulsed violently as if electrocuted, and then he fell straight backward. Thump. He was kicked to death like a stray dog on the street. Instant kill. A clan's elite Jonin who has awakened the 3 Tomoe can be crippled with just a glance. The entire room fell silent instantly. Everyone stared wide-eyed, their eyes fixed intently on Tobirama's. That was fear and longing etched deep within the Uchiha bloodline. This is. Someone's voice trembled, and their teeth chattered. How about it? Quote. Tobirama glanced around, and no one dared to meet his gaze. Is this qualification sufficient? At this moment, the Grand Elder jumped out at the opportune moment, roaring like a fanatical missionary. Did you see that, you bunch of idiots? This is the legendary Mangekyo Sharingan. These are the same eyes as our ancestor, Lord Uchiha Madara. It's the divine power to control the nine-tailed fox and quell the chaos of the world. Only those who possess these eyes are the true powerhouses of the Uchiha clan. Kaleidoscope Sharingan. These 6 words struck the brains of every Uchiha clan member like an electric current. Eyes that only exist in legends. It actually happened. And it happened to this 12-year-old boy. After a brief silence, an emotion called fanaticism spread wildly through the sealed room. A kaleidoscope. It really is a kaleidoscope. My God, is the Uchiha clan finally about to rise to power? With these eyes, Konoha is nothing. The Hokage is nothing. The Uchiha clan admires strength. They worship the strong and power. Now, a new spot has appeared, and their first reaction is not fear, but excitement. That was the excitement of yearning to break free after decades of suppression. Mr. Doorway. Chieftain. Cheers began to rise sporadically, then quickly grew into a continuous roar. But at that moment, at the edge of the crowd, 2 furtive figures were slowly retreating. Those were Toyama's most loyal confidants, and also 2 squad leaders of the Konoha police force. Hurry, we must tell Lord Toyama this news. And the 3rd Hokage too. This kid's gone mad. He'll drag the Uchiha clan into the abyss. The 2 exchanged a glance, then turned and tried to rush out of the secret room. Trying to run away? Tobirama stood on the high platform, without even turning his head. Under those eyes, not even the trajectory of a fly in this secret room could escape his perception. Since you don't want to be a member of the Uchiha clan, then let's be ghosts. Tobirama slowly raised his right hand and made a fist in the air, facing the backs of the 2 fleeing figures. Susanu's bone arm. Boom! A terrifying burst of red chakra erupted instantly. A gigantic skeletal arm appeared out of thin air, moving with lightning speed. What? Quote. Before the 2 people even reached the door, everything went black. The enormous hand grabbed the 2 of them like chicks. Ah, let me go. Tobirama, we're all of the same clan. You can't. Are you from the same family? Tobirama gave a cold laugh, his eyes icy and merciless. Traitors do not deserve the Uchiha surname. Since you all love snitching so much, why don't you go snitch in hell? Die. Quote. Click. Peefed. Tobirama clenched his fists. Susanu's large hand exerted force suddenly. It's like squeezing 2 tomatoes to death. Blood and bone fragments flowed down from the gaps in the massive bony arm, dripping onto the floor. Even the screams stopped abruptly. This scene was absolutely breathtaking. It's too bloody. That was so awesome. The tribesmen, who were just excited a moment ago, now looked at the red skeletal arm that exuded a terrifying aura, and their emotions turned into blind worship. That's power. This is divine power that transcends ninjutsu. Faced with this force, what is impossible? Who else objects? Tobirama dispelled his Susanoo, and 2 twisted corpses fell to the ground with a thud. He clapped his hands as if he had done something trivial. Who else thinks I'm not qualified? Or, is there anyone else who wants to tip off that weak-willed Toyama? The entire room fell silent. The next second, everyone knelt down on one knee in unison, including those old guys who were just questioning things. Their movements were perfectly synchronized, as if they had rehearsed countless times. "Greetings, chieftain. Greetings, Lord Tobirama." The sound was deafening, echoing in the underground chamber, carrying a hysterical frenzy. They were convinced. Whether they submit in their hearts or not, their bodies have already submitted to absolute violence. Moreover, following such a strong person is better than following Toyama, who suffers humiliation every day. "Very good." Quote. Tobirama nodded in satisfaction. "Get up, all of you. I don't like these fancy formalities, I only care about results. The Uchiha clan has been dormant for too long, the higher-ups in Konoha treat us like dogs. From today onwards, these days are over. I will lead you all to reclaim what is rightfully ours." Yes. Quote. The tribesmen were filled with excitement, wishing they could rush out right now and kill a couple of secret agents to add to the festivities. "Alright, that's enough for today." Tobirama waved his hand, signaling them to leave. Meeting adjourned. The crowd respectfully withdrew, their faces flushed with excitement, as if they could already foresee the future of the Uchiha clan ruling Konoha. Everyone had left. Only Tobirama, the Grand Elder, and the two corpses on the ground remained in the secret chamber. Tobirama walked to the corpse and knelt down. With practiced ease, he pried off the 2 pairs of 3 Tomoe Sharingan eyes and placed them into a bottle filled with nutrient solution. Although not as good as a kaleidoscope, it is still a scarce resource and would be a good backup battery. "Elder." Tobirama gave the instructions while wiping his hands. "Yes." The elder immediately bowed, bending even lower than before. "Go and take care of 2 things. First, take some men to the Shimura clan and take back their shop deeds. If anyone dares to stop them, break their legs and say it was my order. Second, dispose of the 2 bodies cleanly and announce to the public that they died in the line of duty during a secret mission." The elder stared at the 2 corpses without even blinking. "Clear." Quote. "Rest assured, Lord Tobirama, I will take care of it immediately. That old dog Tuanzang's current businesses are a piece of fat meat, I'll squeeze every last bone out of him." Seeing the elder's greedy yet loyal expression, Tobirama smiled. "Family? To put it bluntly, they are a community of shared interests. As long as you can feed them meat, even if you are a devil, they will worship you on a pedestal." Uchiha Toyama. Tobirama gazed at the enormous fan-shaped family crest on the wall of the secret chamber, his eyes deep and unfathomable. "I'm sorry. Your clan leader trial card has expired. The Uchiha clan is about to enter my era." Episode 27 Eternal Kaleidoscope. My Power of Thought. The 3rd generation's invitation to the trap. It was late when I got back to my lodgings. Seo Nan was already fast asleep in the 2nd bedroom, even snoring softly. Tobirama sat on the bed in the master bedroom, drew the curtains, and set up a protective barrier. Ding! Congratulations, host, you have successfully rewritten the fate of the Uchiha clan. Epic reward, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, 100% fusion. Special reward, Mastery of all Yin-Yang release attributes. Awakening host exclusive eye technique. Boom! The original 3 Tomoe spun wildly, intertwining and eventually transforming into a complex and bizarre 6-pointed star pattern. The Eye of Eternity. In that instant, the world changed in his eyes. It is no longer a simple combination of lines and colors, but an interweaving of countless rules. Yin release creates form, Yang release infuses life. The left eye represents omniscience and the power of enhancement. The right eye represents the power to create everything. Left eye technique, Takamagahara. As a transmigrator, you possess a god's eye view and will live and decide everything from that perspective. Therefore, under these circumstances, you awaken the Takamagahara eye technique. Once activated, you can use any known Mangekyo Sharingan eye technique, such as Kamui, Koto Amatsukami, Kagutsuchi, etc., and remove all side effects and cooldowns of that technique, increasing its power by 400%. Right eye pupil technique, divine all-encompassing phenomena. As a transmigrator, you possess an invincible mindset, thus awakening the pupil technique, divine all-encompassing phenomena. As long as you firmly believe something will happen, the world will respond to your wishes. What the heart desires becomes reality. Holy crap! Even Tobirama couldn't help but swear at this moment. Is this even a ninja? This is simply divine. The left eye is a super Frankenstein's monster plus a buff machine, while the right eye is practically a matter of words becoming law. Give it a try. Tobirama walked into the courtyard. The night was deep, and an ancient pine tree, so thick that it would take 3 people to encircle it, stood in the corner. Left eye Takamagahara, Kamui. A red light flashed in Tobirama's left eye. The tree's canopy instantly twisted and was sucked into another dimension. Immediately afterwards. Next, the right eye. Tobirama stared at the charred tree stump. He closed his right eye and took a deep breath. A thought frantically formed in my mind. I can control time, I have the power to change time. A mysterious and profound feeling welled up inside me. He suddenly opened his right eye. There were no fancy special effects. But that tree stump began to weather at a rate visible to the naked eye. 1 second, 10 years. 2 seconds, 50 years. 3 seconds, 100 years. Click. The piece of charred wood, which was originally quite sturdy, turned directly into a pile of ashes and dissipated in the night wind. Completely erase. This is the power of time. This is the pantheon of gods and demons. Tobirama covered his slightly burning right eye, looking at the system panel displaying, cooling down, 1 week. Rule level rewriting once a week. Although it has a CD, this is a real killer weapon. If there are enemies that I can't defeat in the future, I only need to use my right eye to instantly have the ability to take him down. The scene was absolutely stunning. Invincible. Even if Madara Uchiha were to be resurrected, I'd still dare to make him dance for me. System, check mine. Host, Uchiha Tobirama. Strength, 6 paths level. Abilities, Eternal Mangekyu Sharingan, Doppelganger, Takamagahara, Shinra Bansho, Healthy Itachi Template, Sage Body, Wood Release, Proficient in all 7 elements Ninjutsu, Perfect Sage Technique, all summoning techniques in the arena. Money, 800,000. You are now utterly invincible. Even the Sage of 6 Paths couldn't surpass you in the slightest. However, you still need to be careful not to be caught off guard and suffer an unexpected setback. Tobirama withdrew his eye power with satisfaction and yawned. Strength test complete, time for bed. He turned and went back into the house. As he passed the second bedroom, he glanced at Sionan, who was sleeping soundly. The little girl has a bad sleeping posture. She kicked off half of the blanket. Tobirama went over and covered her up, then lay down next to her, using this future angel as a pillow. Soft and fragrant. Compared to Kamui, Amaterasu is far more fragrant. Sleep. Quote. The next day, at the Dark Army base. Located underground in Konoha, this place is dark and damp, filled with masked, cold-blooded ANBU ninjas. This is Lord Tobirama's squad. A high-ranking member of the ANBU pointed respectfully at the 16 ninjas kneeling on one knee in front of him. Tobirama glanced at it. These ANBU members were all die-hard loyalists of Hiruzen Sarutobi, and 2 of them even carried the scent of root, clearly spies planted by Danzo. This was the third Hokage's plan. They give you the title of squad leader, but in reality, they sideline you and keep you under surveillance. Okay, leave it to me. Tobirama waved his hand, waiting for the high-ranking official to leave. He simply closed the door, creating a soundproof barrier. The 16 ANBU ninjas remained kneeling on the ground, motionless. Raise your head. Tobirama sat in a chair, his voice languid. 16 people looked up together. The moment they looked up. Left eye, begonia. The most powerful illusion. Modify will. Under the gaze of those eternal kaleidoscopes, these 16 so-called elites didn't even entertain the thought of resistance. Their eyes instantly became glazed, then turned fanatical and resolute. His original loyalty to the Hokage and Danzo was forcibly erased. Instead, he was given the order to be loyal to Tobirama Uchiha for the rest of his life. Tell me, who is your master? Tobirama asked. The 16 men bowed their heads in unison, their voices extremely respectful. It's Lord Tobirama. I am willing to die for Lord Tobirama. Tobirama nodded in satisfaction. Very good. Quote. From now on, whatever the Hokage asks, just answer. Of course, what you say is up to me. Now, back to the team. Before Tobirama could even warm his seat in the Anbu's chair, a ninja hawk hurriedly flew into the ANBU base. Squad leader Tobirama, a messenger ninja, drenched in sweat, rushed in. The Hokage summons you urgently. Highest level red. Tobirama raised an eyebrow. They've arrived. It was faster than expected. The Hokage's office. The atmosphere was even more tense than when Tobirama kicked down the door last time. Hiruzen Sarutobi seemed to have aged 10 years overnight, his face full of worry, and the ashtray on the table was piled high with cigarette butts. Beside him, Danzo, who was missing all 4 limbs, was also sitting in a wheelchair. Although the old man is crippled, his sinister nature has only grown stronger. When Danzo saw Tobirama enter, a flash of resentment crossed his eyes, but he quickly concealed it. Tobirama, you've arrived. Hiruzen Sarutobi raised his head, his tone surprisingly carrying a hint of pleading. Something's happened. Something terrible has happened. He pushed an urgent intelligence report in front of Tobirama. The land of lightning, the land of earth, and the land of wind have formed an alliance. The allied forces of the 3 kingdoms, having amassed 20,000 ninjas, divided into 3 groups and marched straight towards the border of the land of fire. Frontline collapses. Jiraiya severely injured. Orochimaru surrounded. Tsunade trapped in Amigakure. Konoha is in imminent danger. How could it be so fast? Tobirama feigned surprise, but he knew perfectly well what was going on. He wouldn't believe it for a second if Danzo hadn't leaked information and if those 2 old geezers hadn't stirred things up. The reason the three-nation alliance could reach an agreement so quickly is because someone within Konoha, the village of Konoha, betrayed them. They wanted to use outsiders to send Tobirama, this uncontrollable factor, into the meat grinder. Tobirama. Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed and began his performance. You are a hero of Konoha, a pillar of the village. The front lines can't hold out any longer. Only you can save Konoha. That old geezer Onoki specifically asked for your head, and the Reikage even swore to raise Konoha to the ground. If this line of defense breaks, the children, the elderly, and your young apprentice in the village will all die. Moral blackmail. The classic Will of Fire. If it was some hot-blooded idiot, he'd probably be crying his eyes out by now, shouting, for Konoha, and charging forward. But Tobirama simply tossed the intelligence report onto the table. You want me to put out the fire? Okay. Tobirama pulled up a chair and sat down, looking at the two old coins with a smile. But Hokage-sama, you also know. My appearance fee is very high. Last time it was the root, this time. What are you planning to offer me in exchange for my help? Hiruzen Sarutobi's face twitched. He knew it. That brat is an insatiable wolf. What do you want? Hiruzen Sarutobi gritted his teeth. The village is short of funds right now. I don't want money. Tobirama waved his hand. I have plenty of money. I want power. Tobirama held up two fingers. First, quote, I want absolute command of the front lines. Whether it's the three legendary Sannin or those clan leaders, once they get to the front, they all have to listen to me. If I say go east, and anyone dares to go west, I'll kill them. Second, quote, wait until the war is over. I want a position as acting Hokage. Don't rush to refuse. Tobirama glanced at Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo, whose expressions had drastically changed, a hint of mockery flashing in his eyes. You don't have to agree. Then I'll take Conan and Tsunade on a trip. Wait until the allied forces of the Three Kingdoms reach the foot of Fire Shadow Rock, then you can think about it carefully. Anyway, I can run fast with the Flying Thunder God technique and I'm capable of protecting the Uchiha clan. As for the others, I don't care. Silence. Hiruzen Sarutobi stared intently at Tobirama, while Danzo trembled with rage in his wheelchair. Naruto agent. Isn't this blatantly an attempt to seize power? But do they dare to refuse? If the front lines collapse, Konoha will truly be gone, and this is also a deadly trap they meticulously designed for Tobirama. Good. Quote. Hiruzen Sarutobi squeezed out the word through gritted teeth, his heart bleeding. As long as you can defend Konoha and drive the allied forces back. Whatever you want, I'll give you. He's gambling. I bet Tobirama will die on the battlefield. Facing the combined might of the three great nations, and the Reikage, Tsuchikage, Kazekage, Jinchuriki, and the power of Konoha. No matter how strong an individual is, can they be stronger than an army of thousands? These promises are worthless once Tobirama dies. Make a deal. Quote. Tobirama stood up, a bright smile on his face. Then please have the Hokage write the letter of appointment. I'll go tidy up, and while I'm at it. Tobirama glanced at Danzo in his wheelchair, his eternal kaleidoscope eyes turning slightly. Lord Danzo, you've lost your legs and you still worry about national affairs. You've worked so hard. I hope you won't be so angry when I get back. After saying this, Tobirama laughed loudly, turned around, and left. Looking at that arrogant back view, Danzo growled venomously. Hiruzen, this time, he must die. Rest assured. Quote. Hiruzen Sarutobi slumped in his chair, his eyes cold and sinister. Notify Onoki and the Reikage. Tell them, Tobirama Uchiha has gone to the front lines. This time we must finish him off completely. Episode 28 Village Arrangements. Arrival at the battlefield. Complete Susanoo. Uchiha clan territory. Tobirama tossed a scroll he was holding onto the tatami mat. This is paper release. I won't be in Konoha for a while. You should learn this ninjutsu first. This is a ninjutsu I created just for you. If there's anything you don't understand, I'll tell you when I get back. Tobirama didn't look at her. While adjusting the protective gear on his wrist, he said, don't wander off. It's dangerous outside lately. Just stay home and wait for me to come back. Seo Nan picked up the scroll and nodded. After dealing with the young ones, there are still the old ones to consider. Tobirama turned his head and looked at the Grand Elder at the door. I'm leaving, Elder. While I'm away, you must keep this clan and my secret forces on high alert at all times, in case the third generation and his ilk resort to desperate measures. The elder suddenly looked up, his old face revealing a fierce glint in his eyes. Anyone who dares to touch our Uchiha clan, I'll risk my life to tear a piece of their flesh. You don't need to risk your life. Tobirama's lips curled into a cold smile. Dispatch out the guards and Anbu. Anyone who reaches out, chop off their hand without asking permission. Yes. Quote. With a flash of golden light, Tobirama Uchiha had completely left Konoha. The land of rain, Amigakure, hidden village. The Leaf Village is almost completely wiped out. They're almost all dead. The remaining people, numbering less than 1,000, were crammed onto a small hillside, surrounded by other people. Awagakure ninja, Sunagakure ninja, Kumog. They were densely packed, like a swarm of overturned ants, surging upwards in a dark mass. Hold on, all of you, hold on for me, you bastards. A Konoha Jonin, his voice hoarse from shouting, had just plunged his kunai into the neck of an Iwa ninja when a large sword slashed open his back. Blood splattered all over the ground. It's useless. It's simply unbearable. In the sky, Onoki was constantly surveying the battlefield. He barely lifted a finger, he just watched from above, occasionally pointing a finger at something. A beam of white light descended. The lower part of Konoha's defense line was missing a piece, more than a dozen people were wiped out instantly, not even a trace remained. On the ground, the slaughter continued. The third Raikage, his body crackling with blue lightning, charged at the forefront. That guy's a lunatic, he doesn't even try to dodge. The explosive tags from the Konoha ninjas stuck to his body, exploding with a bang, but he wasn't even scratched. With a backhand elbow strike, he smashed the head of a Konoha Chunin. Anyone who didn't know better would think it was incredible luck. It's so crispy, so crispy. The Raikage laughed maniacally, grabbed the person, and slammed him into the crowd like a sandbag. Is Konoha deserted? Huh? On the other side, black sand was flying everywhere. With a wave of his hand, the third Kage transformed the sand into a giant hammer and then into a spear. Those rain ninja who surrendered suffered the worst. They didn't even get to touch a person before being riddled with iron sand. Tsunade was panting. She was covered in blood, having killed countless enemies. Her face was covered in blood and mud. My chakra is depleted. The slug next to it looked listless, its size shrunk to the size of a wash basin. Lady Tsunade. A squad leader next to him, his face contorted in despair, dangling a broken arm, said, "Let's retreat. Really, we can't fight anymore." "Screw you." Tsunade slapped him across the face. In Konoha, only those who die in battle die, not those who kneel. Say another word and I'll kill you. Although she spoke fiercely, she was already at her limit. Look up and take a look. Despair. I'm truly desperate. This is on a completely different level. The enemy has 3 shadowy figures and tens of thousands of soldiers. And what about our side? Defeated troops, and we still have to care for the wounded. Let's end it. He seemed to have grown tired of seeing the great tree in the sky. He clasped his hands together. Dust release, particle-style dismantling technique. This beam of light was 10 times thicker than the previous one. It rammed straight down in Tsunade's direction. Everyone in Konoha had only one thought in their minds: it's over. Tsunade didn't dodge. There's no escaping it. She closed her eyes, and the face of that brat flashed through her mind. It's such a shame I didn't have a chance to talk to him more. The beam of light descended. Just then, call out. It was a sound of something cutting through the air. A kunai was stuck in the mud puddle next to Tsunade's feet. Before anyone could react, a hand landed directly on Tsunade's shoulder. Brush. The white light crashed down. But no one was hit. Tobirama had already moved to the side with Tsunade. Boom! There was a big earthquake. Smoke and dust billowed. Tsunade felt herself being embraced, and instantly she recognized it. It was that familiar embrace. She opened her eyes, and sure enough, it was that B************* D Tobirama. You. Tobirama looked down and glanced at her with disdain. It's gotten into this state? He released her, shoved Tsunade back, and wiped his hands on his clothes as if he'd touched something dirty. Don't ever say you know me again. It's too embarrassing. Tsunade's tears streamed down her face instantly. I wasn't moved, I was angry and also felt wronged. She wanted to curse, but in the end, she only managed to utter, you be *********D. At this moment, the people around them came to their senses. The entire audience was stunned. Who is this? The people from Konoha were practically bulging their eyes out. Doorway master. It's Lord Tobirama. Lord Tobirama has come to our rescue. The opposing coalition forces also stopped fighting. Tens of thousands of eyes were fixed on the black-clad youth who had suddenly appeared. Onoki, hovering in the sky, frowned slightly and lowered his gaze. Is this that Uchiha brat? He looks far too young. The Raikage's body was still crackling with lightning. He took a step forward. That's it? Has Hiruzen Sarutobi gone mad? Sending a brat to his death? Ha 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 ha. Quote. The Allied forces were laughing their heads off. Some people whistled, while others slapped their thighs. Hey, kid, are you weaned yet? Go home and find your mother. The laughter and mockery came in waves. Tobirama ignored him. He stood there, his back to the people of Konoha, facing tens of thousands of soldiers. Tsunade. He spoke, his voice not loud, but it was clearly heard in the rain. Take him and get away. Tsunade was taken aback. What did you say? Tobirama turned his head, his red eye darting around. Retreat 10 miles. The people from Konoha were dumbfounded. The squad leader, who had lost an arm, stammered, "Sir, you're all alone? How are we supposed to fight this? Just leave when I tell you to." Tsunade suddenly roared. She understood Tobirama's gaze. "Retreat! Everyone retreat! Quickly!" Tsunade grabbed the wounded man from the ground and dragged him backward. Although the people of Konoha were stunned, their bodies betrayed them. At this moment, who wouldn't run? In a flash, they all retreated. In the blink of an eye. In this muddy mess, only Tobirama remained. All alone. The person on the other end laughed even harder. Feng Ying's gloomy expression crumbled, and he sneered, "Interesting. Trying to be a hero? Taking on our entire three-nation coalition single-handedly? They're courting death." Onoki shook his head and raised his hand. "Let's do it. Don't waste time with an idiot. Crush him. Let's do it." The Raikage has a fiery temper and had long since lost his temper. "Kid, remember this, the one who killed you was the third Raikage." He roared and shot out like a cannonball. "That's too fast." So fast that even the afterimage was barely visible. The fist, crackling with lightning, slammed towards Tobirama's head. Tobirama didn't move. I didn't see him form any hand seals. I didn't see him dodge it. But the tomoe in those eyes suddenly formed the shape of a windmill. Buzz. A surge of cold, sinister chakra suddenly exploded. The Raikage, who had been laughing wildly just moments before, suddenly realized that the person in front of him wasn't a teenager, but a top-tier powerhouse. His deadly punch stopped an inch from Tobirama's nose. It wasn't that he wanted to stop. It was a large, red skeletal hand that gripped his wrist tightly. Immediately afterwards, the skeleton grew flesh and donned armor. In the blink of an eye, a red giant, hundreds of meters tall, rose from the ground. Complete form of Susanoo. When this thing came out, half the sky was already dark. The laughter of the tens of thousands of people who were just laughing a moment ago suddenly stopped. Everyone looked up, staring in awe at Susanoo. What the hell is this? The Raikage, who just moments ago thought himself invincible, was like an ant in front of this giant. Tobirama stood atop the giant's head, looking down from a high vantage point. Who laughed the loudest just now? He raised his hand, and Susanoo followed suit, brandishing the giant chakra sword in his hand towards the crowd below. The frog in the well, has it ever seen a real god? Today, I will show you the power of the god of ninjas. The words had barely left his mouth. The giant sword swung down. Episode 29 The Desperate Allied Forces. Koto Amatsukami. Onoki's betrayal. On the battlefield, the wind stopped. Because all the air was blocked at that moment by the Susanoo that shot into the sky. That is, the third Raikage's body, which seemed to be cast in steel, was now trembling slightly. His most prized shield seemed like a joke in comparison to this red giant, hundreds of meters tall. This is the power of the Uchiha? The third Kazekage manipulated iron sand, only to find that he was almost too afraid to even look up. Within the crystal on Susanoo's forehead, Tobirama crossed his arms, a cruel smile playing on his lips. The first cut is a kind of greeting gift. Boom! The complete Susanoo drew the massive chakra sword, hundreds of meters long, from its waist. It was just a simple swinging motion. Sword energy stretched for 1,000 meters. The earth was neatly sliced open like fragile tofu, and a bottomless canyon was instantly formed. As for the hundreds of allied ninjas along the sword's path, before he could even scream, he was instantly vaporized into a blood mist. One strike, and the terrain is rewritten. One strike, and 1,000 soldiers are slaughtered. Ah, how do you fight this? Is this a god? Run fast. The allied forces, which had been so aggressive just moments before, aiming to crush Konoha, collapsed instantly. Fear spread like a plague. No retreating. Hold the line. Onoki floated in midair, roaring, his old face flushed red. That's chakra materialization. With enough concentrated attacks, we can break it. Earth release, rock gun technique. Lightning release, hell thrust. Magnetic release, iron sand rain. Led by several Kage, thousands of ninjas launched a desperate counterattack. Countless ninjutsu techniques converged into a multicolored torrent, slamming heavily onto Susanoo's armor. Clang, clang. A crisp sound. The smoke and dust cleared. Not even a mark was left on the red armor. Despair. True despair. As Onoki stared at the enormous Tengu mask, memories from the depths of his mind surged forth like a tidal wave. Decades ago, a man named Uchiha Madara looked down at him in the same way, as if he were an insect that could be crushed at any moment. Here we go again. Onoki trembled. It was a psychological shadow etched into his very bones. That feeling of powerlessness, that insignificance in the face of the divine. Inside the crystal, Tobirama looked down at the group of ninjas still struggling in vain and shook his head. Too weak. These are the so-called elite ninjas? Since that's the case, Tobirama clapped his hands together, and the sage chakra and wood release chakra within his body instantly surged. Then I'll show you what real hell is like. Wood release, multiple wood clone technique. Puff puff puff. A dozen or so wooden clones jumped out of Susanoo and landed on the surrounding ground. Immediately afterwards, each of the wood clones was engulfed in a towering burst of red chakra. Susanoo activated. Boom, boom, boom. The earth trembled, amidst the stunned, terrified, and even breathless gazes of everyone. More than a dozen fully formed Susanoo rose from the ground. Including the main body, there are 13 in total. 13 red giants, each several hundred meters tall, formed a circle, surrounding the 20,000-strong allied army. It's like a group of adults surrounding a nest of ants. This is impossible. The third Raikage's lightning release dissipated, his face filled with despair. One is already invincible. A dozen or so? What the hell is the point of fighting? I'm not targeting anyone in particular. Tobirama's voice, amplified by chakra, resounded throughout the heavens and earth. I mean, everyone here is trash. Kill. Quote. With Tobirama's command, 13 Susanoo simultaneously swung their swords. The scene was like the end of the world. The sword energy intertwined to form a net of death. No matter which direction you ran, it was a dead end. Blood stained the earth red, and corpses piled up like mountains. The Konoha ninjas were dumbfounded. Is this the power of the Uchiha clan? Too powerful, like a god. No, I will never admit defeat. Onoki watched as his men were slaughtered like wheat, and his eyes turned red. That fear of being dominated by Madara transformed into a frenzied fighting spirit under extreme anger. Dust release, particle-style dismantling technique. Buzz. A dazzling white light condensed into a cube and instantly shot towards one of the wood clones, Susanoo. Dust release, a bloodline limit surpassing the bloodline limit. It can break down all matter into molecules. Sizzle. The wooden clone Susanoo that was hit, along with its inner clones, instantly lost a large chunk of itself, then crumbled and dissipated. Oh, quote. Tobirama raised an eyebrow and looked at the little old man floating in midair. Dust release, huh. That's interesting. Inoki, do you want to dance too? Tobirama controlled his Susanoo, its massive sword pointing directly at Onoki. Come, let me see just how hard your will to stone is. You little brat, don't underestimate this old man. With a roar, Onoki transformed into a streak of light, using the high mobility granted by the light-heavy rock technique to weave through the gaps in Susanoo's attacks. He knew that a direct confrontation wouldn't work. He could only rely on skillful movement to find opportunities to ambush the main body. Dust release, limit break technique. Another massive beam of light swept across. It has to be said, experience truly matters. When this old man gets really into a fight, he can be quite troublesome. Tobirama controlled the enormous Susanoo, which, while powerful, was rather clumsy for swatting at these flies. So annoying. Tobirama's eyes turned cold. Wood release. All are cloth bag techniques. Rumble. Countless enormous wooden hands burst forth from the ground, grabbing at Onoki like swatting mosquitoes. Onoki dodged left and right, but there were just too many wooden hands, seemingly endless. Smack. Finally, someone couldn't dodge in time. Onoki was struck hard by a wooden hand and crashed to the ground like a kite with a broken string. Cough cough. Onoki got up, covered in dust and dirt, his back almost broken. Before he could even catch his breath. Brush. Quote. A golden light flashed. Tobirama immediately dispelled Susanoo and used the Flying Thunder God technique to instantly appear less than a meter in front of Onoki. Gotcha, old man. Tobirama's young face instantly magnified in Onoki's eyes. You. Onoki was about to form hand seals. But his gaze inevitably met Tobirama's left eye. Inside that eternal kaleidoscope, eerie patterns are slowly rotating. Left eye Takamagahara, activate. Designated eye technique, Kotoa Matsukami. Boom. An irresistible, supreme power of vision instantly invaded Onoki's brain. That's the most powerful illusion. It can subtly alter the other person's will without him even realizing it. Onoki's eyes froze for a second. Immediately afterwards, all the anger, fear, and resentment vanished. Instead, there was absolute loyalty to the boy before him. Go ahead. Tobirama patted Onoki on the shoulder, as if giving instructions to an old servant. Let those two spectators stretch their muscles too. Yes, Lord Tobirama. Onoki nodded respectfully. Then, he suddenly turned around and floated into the air. With hands clasped together, the lighted dust escape once more coalesced. But this time, the target wasn't Tobirama. Instead, it was the third Raikage and the third Kage not far away. Onoki, what are you doing? The third Raikage was fending off an attack from a Susanoo clone when he suddenly felt a chill down his spine. Looking back, the dazzling white light was already upon them. Dust release, particle-style dismantling technique. Boom. That backstab was swift, accurate, and ruthless. Although the third Raikage reacted extremely quickly and activated his lightning release armor to withstand the attack, he was still blasted hundreds of meters away, and his right arm was completely shattered. "Ah, you old geezer, are you crazy?" Raikage roared as he crawled out of the ruins, his face a mixture of bewilderment and rage. The third Kage was dumbfounded. "Tsuchikage, are you under a genjutsu?" Onoki floated in the air, expressionless, his eyes as determined as if he were about to join the party. "For the glory of Lord Tobirama. You scum, you all must die. All of you belong to the land of earth. Hear my command." At Onoki's command, his voice echoed throughout the entire arena. "Change course. Attack the land of lightning and the land of wind. Kill." Quote. This moment, the entire battlefield was in chaos. Former allies instantly became mortal enemies. Although the ninjas from the land of earth were bewildered, the Kage's orders were absolute, so they could only grit their teeth and shove kunai into the kidneys of their allies from the land of lightning. Holy crap, what's going on? Onoki has betrayed us? A dog-eat-dog fight. Brilliant. The Konoha ninjas were stunned, then erupted in thunderous cheers. High in the sky, Tobirama stood inside Susanoo, looking down at the chaotic battlefield below. The Raikage and Kage are besieging Onoki, while ninjas from the three kingdoms are killing each other. A pleased smile appeared on his lips. That's right. Why make things difficult for yourself when you can have someone else do it? The most entertaining thing is when dogs fight each other. Episode 30, the Allied forces defeated. The two shadows captured. The center of the battlefield. What was originally the battlefield of the three kingdoms' allied forces has now become a living hell. The tree world is born from wood release. Tobirama stood atop the complete Susanoo, his hands clasped together. Rumble. Countless thick tree roots surged out of the ground like raging dragons, instantly turning the battlefield, spanning several kilometers, into a primeval forest. Those ninjas from the land of lightning and the land of wind who were still fleeing were entangled and strangled by tree roots, and their blood became the best nourishment for the forest. This is Hashirama Senju's power. The third Raikage, known as the strongest spear and the strongest shield, was now covered in blood and panting heavily. His prized lightning release armor was riddled with cracks before the giant sword of the complete Susanoo. I don't believe it. Lightning release, hell thrust, one-shot punch. The third Raikage roared, compressing his chakra to its limit, transforming it into a bolt of black lightning, and charged recklessly towards the red giant. Commendable courage. Tobirama looked down at him coldly. But, it's meaningless. Susanoo's Yatamira, a giant red shield stood in front of him. Clang! The loud bang caused the eardrums of the surrounding ninjas to rupture. The one-handed sword, said to be able to penetrate everything, crashed into the Yatamira without even creating a ripple. On the contrary, the third Raikage's fingers were severed by the enormous recoil, and he was sent flying like a cannonball, crashing into a pile of rocks, his fate unknown. On the other side, the third Kage manipulated a sky full of iron sand, attempting to launch an attack from the air. Magnetic release, sand and iron boundary technique. Countless poisoned iron spikes rained down like a storm. Tobirama didn't even glance at it. Wood release, wood dragon technique. A gigantic wooden dragon burst forth from the sea of trees, opened its massive maw, and swallowed the iron sand whole. Immediately afterwards, the wooden dragon spiraled upwards and bit down on the third Kage, who was still showing off in midair. What? Quote. The third Kage was horrified and tried to break free, only to find that the wooden dragon was frantically absorbing his chakra. Get down here. Tobirama flicked his finger. Boom. The wooden dragon slammed heavily to the ground, leaving the third Kage dazed and spitting blood from his mouth. Two shadows. They are still recognized as the strongest Kage and the strongest Raikage in the ninja world. Before Tobirama, they couldn't even last the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Add to that Onoki, who is still turning against his allies and launching a frenzied attack. The allied forces of the three kingdoms collapsed completely. A monster. A monster. Even the Shadow Master has been defeated. Run. Morale, once it collapses, is like an avalanche. The remaining allied ninjas abandoned their armor and fled towards the border in a panic. Don't pursue a cornered enemy. Tobirama dispersed his Susanoo, which landed on the ground. The surrounding Konoha ninja stared blankly, then erupted in deafening cheers. We won. We really won. One person destroyed 3 countries. Tobirama ignored the cheers and went straight to Tsunade's side. Tsunade, exhausted from the previous fierce battle, was leaning against a tree, panting and pale. Spiritual communication. Bang! A giant blue and white slug appeared. But this slug is different from Tsunade's, it exudes a strong aura of sage chakra. This is a slug? Tsunade paused, then said, why does it feel even stronger than that one from Shiketsu Forest? My unique psychic abilities are, of course, powerful. Tobirama smiled, causing the slug to split and attach itself to Tsunade and the injured Konoha ninja around it, frantically injecting life force into them. Tsunade, things are all taken care of here. What about the other two routes? Tsunade felt her chakra rapidly replenishing, breathed a sigh of relief, and then her expression turned serious. Not very optimistic. With the Hyuga and Uchiha clans holding things up for Shikaku, they're struggling, but they can barely manage. The most troublesome ones are Orochimaru and Sakumo. Their opponents are the old woman Chiyo from the Land of Wind and her puppet army. That old woman Chiyo used a deadly poison, our medical ninjas couldn't cure it at all. Sakumo was also trapped by a massive number of puppets, suffering heavy casualties. Poison? Tobirama let out a cold laugh. She's playing with poison in front of me, she doesn't know the meaning of death. He patted Tsunade on the shoulder. I'll leave this to you to clean up the mess. I'll be right back. You'll be right back? Tsunade was taken aback. Where are you going? He hadn't finished speaking. Flying Thunder God technique. Brush. Tobirama's figure vanished in an instant. The western border of the Land of Fire, a desolate battlefield. The area is now shrouded in a green, poisonous fog. Cough cough. Sakumo Hitaki, holding a short sword, knelt on the ground, black blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. His knife was swift, but the pervasive poison gas was everywhere. Orochimaru, standing nearby, wasn't in much better shape. The Manda he had summoned had been forced to return to the Dragon Cave to recover from its poison, and Orochimaru himself was deathly pale, his cold, serpentine eyes filled with apprehension. As expected of Chiyo, Orochimaru said hoarsely, "This poison is more troublesome than I imagined." Opposite, Granny Chiyo controlled the famous Chikamatsu Ten, her face full of wrinkles and murderous intent. The Land of Wind belongs to them. Attack, leave no one alive. Today is the day to completely annihilate Konoha. Thousands of sand ninja puppeteers, controlling a dense army of puppets, surged forward like a tidal wave. Despair. The defenses of Konoha have been breached, with wounded soldiers strewn everywhere and cries of agony filling the air. Just as Orochimaru and Sakumo were preparing for a desperate fight. Buzz. A golden mark appeared on the back of Orochimaru's neck. Orochimaru was taken aback. The next second, a figure appeared out of thin air between the two. Who? Quote. Hitaki Sakumo instinctively swung his white dagger. Don't be nervous, White Fang Sr. Tobirama held the short sword between two fingers and smiled slightly. I'm here to help you. Tobirama-kun? When Orochimaru saw the newcomer, a glint of cunning flashed in his cold eyes. Weren't you in Konoha? How come? The Flying Thunder God technique allows me to provide support at any time. The situation in Amigakure is already over. Tobirama loosened his grip and surveyed the horrific scene around him. Everywhere were blackened corpses poisoned, and the air was thick with toxic fumes. TSK, that's really pathetic. It seems that puppeteers are indeed a bit disgusting in team battles. Tobirama turned around, his back to Orochimaru and Sakumo. Take the rest of the men and retreat 5 kilometers. Leave this to me. You're alone? Sakumo Hitaki frowned. The other side is Chiyo, and an army of 3,000 puppeteers. And they're all poisonous. So what? Tobirama turned his head to the side, his two scarlet eternal kaleidoscopes appearing particularly eerie in the poisonous fog. They're just a rabble. What difference does it make how many there are? As for the poison, I am a Uchiha, but I am also a medical ninja, and I specialize in dealing with all kinds of dissent. Let's retreat. That was an absolute command. Orochimaru gave Tobirama a deep look. That confidence wasn't feigned. Shuomao, withdraw. Orochimaru licked his lips. I'd also like to see just how powerful Madara Uchiha truly is. As the Konoha troops retreated, the once bustling battlefield suddenly became empty. Only Tobirama remained, standing alone in the middle of the wasteland. Opposite, Granny Chiyo watched as Konoha withdrew its troops, her brows furrowed. Is this a scam? Who's that kid? Why is he all alone? That's a brat from the Uchiha clan? The sand ninja nearby were also stunned, then burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, has Konoha been poisoned into a daze? Leave a brat who hasn't even grown his first hair to cover the retreat? Hey, kid, are you so scared your legs are too weak to walk? Mocking voices rose and fell. In their view, this was simply an act of suicide. Granny Chiyo also sneered, and with a slight movement of her fingers, 10 white puppets flew through the air, making clicking sounds. Whatever the conspiracy, before my poison and puppets, all efforts are in vain. Since he wants to be a hero, then let him have that wish. Kill him. Chiyo gave the order. Hundreds of puppets, armed with poisoned blades, swarmed towards the lone figure like a locust plague. Tobirama stood still, faced with a sky full of puppets and mockery. He slowly raised his head. A cruel, expectant smile curled at the corner of his lips. Laugh, while you can still laugh out loud. Wait a minute. I hope you can still cry.